Hi, let's have a look at the choice of audit or assessment method. That is, are you going to run an audit or are you going to run an assessment? And if so, what kind of audit? Which audit or which assessment? Now, that decision depends on what you're examining. If you're examining quality, then an ISO 9001 audit is not a bad one to do. If you are trying to determine the organization's capability, then we have perfectly good assessments of capability to do that. If you try to do something like reassure an organization about your ability to develop life-critical software for medical devices, you'd probably get assessed against ISO 60324, I think it is. There is an emerging standard on medical device software that has an assessment attached to it. There are a growing number of standards of things that have this variety of assessment to them. There's one on Untitled Service Management. It's called TIPA, T-I-P-A. I think there's one also about financial capability. It's come out of Luxembourg, which is not surprising because Luxembourg is populated by banks, and their financial services is quite a considerable industry, so they want to assure everybody that they're doing pretty well. So there is an assessment method there for them. Once you've decided what it is you're running, whether it's an audit or an assessment and which particular one, you should then decide the scope of the assessment. Are you going to examine the entire organization, or just a division, or just a project, or what is it you're going to do? But incidentally, the advice there is you don't try and get the entire organization done all at the same time. It gets too big, and logistically it becomes a problem. So it's generally a good idea to take it piece by piece. Now, decide the purpose of the scope of the assessment. There are different reasons why you do an assessment. I think I said before, one of the reasons why you do some sort of an audit or an assessment is to satisfy some contractual requirement. Now, it's government. When governments buy things, or when people buy things that are expensive and big and very serious, they tend to want to be reassured that the organization who's supplying them is quite capable of supplying these consistently and reliably. So they probably want to do some kind of an assessment. They may demand that you gain or have or maintain an ISO 9001 accreditation in whatever domain it is, or they may, as some of them have decided to do, decide that you must gain and maintain capability level 3, for example, in some particular domain. Whatever it is, it could be a contractual requirement. Another reason why I do it is to find the non-conformances. I mean, you might decide to do an audit yourself before the formal audit, so that you can identify all the problems before the main auditors go find them. You can do that. But a third reason, just go looking for things that you can improve. There comes a time when you can have a look at all the things that people are doing, but you can suggest a whole lot of improvements, but is this just spinning your wheels? What is there to say that what you suggested will actually be constructive and productive? So some sort of formal framework with which you can assess what's going. You can assess the production process or the design processes is probably going to give a more consistent and productive set of improvement suggestions. So that's another reason why you do an assessment. The last thing you need to do within your assessment particularly is to decide the level of rigor. Now, both the CMMI and the SPICE assessments do have provision for different levels of rigor. The highest level of rigor is the kind of thing that would be done when an organization is being assessed on behalf of another organization. So it becomes something of a legal obligation, a legal requirement. And in those circumstances, you need a very high level of rigor so that the results are traceable and defendable. On the other hand, if you're just having a look at the organisation or a division within an organisation to see if you can find some sort of improvement or just to check the progress of things, then a very low level of rigour may be more appropriate. Now these levels of rigour are reviewed in the lecture about process improvement, so I won't go over them all there. But there is what to do with audits and assessments. You first have to determine what it is you're trying to achieve and which audit or which assessment is appropriate. Decide the scope of what it is you're going to do and decide the level of rigour of what it is you're going to do. Okay.